Bink bonk. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerd Ledger. We're back. We're live. I haven't been live in a couple weeks, but I've done some shows, some solo shows. But Chair's back. Hello, Chair. Say hello.
I'm back. It's Chair. I'm here
Yeah.
to say weird things that make everybody uncomfortable. Just kidding. Maybe some of the time. Other times
Sure.
say really rational things. It depends on the mood, I guess. Yeah, I was gone studying for my LSAT, which stands for Law School Admission Test, which is because I'm trying to go back to law school so I can be a lawyer and do fancy lawyer stuff like wear a suit and get a fancy big pen and go to court and say yes, Your Honor, no, Your Honor, of course, Your Honor, and all the other fancy paperwork you do with that big fancy pen.
So what
Yeah,
happens if you say "eat shit, Your Honor"?
then you get disbarred and you're not allowed to practice law in any state ever again. So that's probably why some people are better at being lawyers, other people are not. So
Fair enough.
yeah. 'Cause when you're in the courtroom, it's the judge's house, man. I think that's one thing that people don't understand. Like, when I was working, many people may know, I worked as a criminal defense attorney, not attorney, Paul, I'm sorry. I worked as a paralegal for a criminal defense attorney, for about 3 years. Yeah, most people just really can't handle it when, when, people can't handle it when they're in, like, they realize they have no power. When you're in the judge's courtroom, you realize the judge has all like the power and they can like literally like tell you to shut the fuck up and you have to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's true. Um, but some people can handle it, and those people become lawyers.
Yeah, some people can handle all the bullshit. So I take the LSAT, I get a score, then I go to law school, then I take the bar for the state I want to practice law in, pass the bar, and then I find a law firm and start working. And that's the idea. I hope to go to University of Pacific because I got my grandpa's university ring when he died. So I hope I earn the right to wear it, and that way I don't have to pay $90 for a new one. And then yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Um, cool. So, how are you feeling overall, though? You feeling better?
I feel like I did okay. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better now. I just get a lot of bad test anxiety the first time I do a test.
Yeah, understandable.
So it would just it's just yeah, I get my results back on the 27th. You're allowed to take it 7 times total. You know, hopefully, like, I feel like I'm probably gonna take it again. It has a really difficult portion called logic games, and these logic games are very complicated, and I don't want to talk about them because I'm tired of talking about them because everyone keeps asking me what the hardest part was, and I go, it's logic games, the part I suck the most at. So
Yeah, you have to do
and
those for like advanced placement, like when you're like if you're trying to like skip stuff or like do advanced placement like between like middle school and high school. Sometimes like you have to do these.
bless
Bless
me,
you.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you have to do like these crazy like logic tests. Like they have like shapes and shit. And they're like, what's the next logical shape and like whatever. Like and you're just like, bro, this shit's so like you just have to be able to identify patterns and whatever. I don't know if that's the same thing, but
But you have to make a game. So like,
I'm sure you just
sorry,
sneezed again. So bless you.
sorry. I was just outside swimming because it is a beautiful day in California. So go out and enjoy the sunshine if you haven't already. Go for a walk. Go for a run or whatever you do.
Mm, well, it's like 90 degrees now, so
Yeah, put on
I
some
don't
sunscreen.
I don't think people want to go running.
Oh yeah, or
Yeah,
just
put
go for
on
a
some
walk. It's a very nice day.
sunscreen, guys.
It's a very nice day. But I just went.
You went for a swim, yes. Hello?
Yeah, sorry. I keep sneezing hella bad.
No worries. So, what were you saying before the swimming thing?
And
Oop.
I gotta sneeze again.
It's
Just go
alright.
on.
You guys, chair,
Sorry,
bless
keep
you.
talking. Keep talking.
Chair is just dying. Chair is dying. But
Enjoy the sunshine. It's healthy for you.
Yeah. So we will be talking about some nerd news today mostly. We will be doing an additional episode on Saturday in the evening sometime because I have work on Saturday and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday every day of the week. But yeah, we'll be talking about the Acolyte episodes 1 through 3. Then, have you watched any of the Acolyte?
I watched part of episode 1 that I fell asleep because last night.
Bless you. He's gonna sneeze. I knew he was gonna
No, I'm
sneeze.
muting myself. I'm
So,
muting myself because I'm such a good podcaster, and I know
yeah.
our viewers don't come here to listen to me sneeze my eyeballs out. Bah.
Are you just allergic to living at this point? He's sneezing, guys. He's sneezing again. He's sneezing, but he's muted because he's
Back.
sneezing.
Sorry.
Oh, he's gonna sneeze again. Bless you.
So I'm just there's a lot of pollen in the air right now, so it is what it is, and I haven't been outside that much lately because I've been inside playing video games like shut it.
All right. Yep. There we go.
So
Bless
yeah.
you.
Anyway, continue on.
Yeah. No, I was just I was gonna see if you had any initial thoughts on the acolyte, but you're sleepy. So was it boring and it put you to sleep, or are you just you're just sleepy?
It didn't put me to sleep, but last night I was really sleepy when I went to bed. So
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Well, yeah.
I'm
We'll.
sorry, I'm sneezing so bad. So I just need to give it a fair shake. I need to rewatch it again because I went to bed like I was already really tired and I was up. I was role playing, or as you know, ERPing or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So I was up late last night role playing, up until the early hours. So I just need to give it a more fair shake. Tonight I'm not really doing anything, and then I'm just gonna go to bed early, wake up early on Friday. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a really good fair shake tonight. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah. As far as news goes, there's quite a bit about, well, in regards to the Lord of the Rings. Some of it's like oldish news, but it's worth talking about because Chair's here. And then there's also like a weird, not a weird, but apparently, I don't know if you, Chair, know, or like if the audience knows the history of the Blade reboot that's been happening. But it's been kind of crazy. And I know we reported on it before that like the main actor was like considering leaving the project at one point as well. But the movie's gone through like a bunch of rewrites, a bunch of directors, and all this stuff. And apparently, yesterday the news broke that the new director also left the project.
Nice.
So no idea what's happening with that, what's going to happen with that, but don't hold your breath for a Blade movie anytime soon because I don't anticipate that we will be getting one.
Damn, dude. We're getting a Blade game, probably gonna be a freaking good Blade game, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
the
Before we
trailer
get the
looked
movie.
decent for it. So,
Yeah, it did. So it's
and
made by
then
Studio.
the other thing that's not Lord of the Rings news is they're doing a Watchmen like 2-part event. It's going to be animated. So most people are familiar with Watchmen, either from the graphic novel or from Zack Snyder's adaptation of it, which I thought was a decent adaptation, to be fair, for what it was. I don't know how familiar you are with Watchmen or if you've watched it or read it or any of that.
No, I watched the movie. You know me, I'm not the biggest comic book fan. I prefer to read novels and stuff like that. I know it's really popular. I watched the movies. Or just the movie, that came out. I really enjoyed it. It was really good. I read Wikipedia stuff like that. I know about like Doctor Manhattan and it's just kind of some of the more background stuff, but they're just the
Yeah.
only things I don't like the wiki. Like a total normie.
Yeah, well, they're doing a 2-part animated event for Watchmen, and it is from the trailer that was released. It is based off the graphic novel, pretty much just like the movie was. So that'll be interesting. And then again, before Lord of the Rings, I have nothing to say about any of this, but you might. I don't know if you watched any of it, but I know there were a bunch of video game events last week. Like Xbox had a showcase, and
Yeah. I saw that honestly, like I don't because of as we people have known, those of you that follow gaming, sometimes there's a lot of false promises made in game trailers and all those kind of things that the game isn't exactly representative of what comes out, and most of it's like a cinematic. It's not even true actual gameplay.
yeah, yeah. I saw bits of some of it and pieces of some of it. And I know, like,
Yeah, I
there
think the only
was,
thing I saw was that the new Black Ops is going to be a ridiculous download size. Like it's going to be like 320 gigabytes of space or something like that, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like this
Oh
is
yeah.
something a lot of me and my buddies and gaming buddies have been talking about for a long time. Is like these game file sizes just getting crazier and crazier every single year.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like, especially when you consider like games used to just be burned onto a disc, and then you'd put the disc in, and then you'd save a file on like a two 2 megabyte like memory card or some shit. Like, yeah, it's kind of insane. But for all the shit they put in to the games to make the graphics work and all the details and shit, like I guess it has to be this size, but I don't know. They need to find a solution. I think as technology improves, like they will, but it's a big thing. Like, and it's a thing that like, you get excited, you go buy the game or whatever,
Yeah,
you buy the digital
and
copy, and then you have to
it
wait like
sucks.
3 days to play it because it's just
Yeah,
downloading,
downloading the patching, like yeah, absolutely.
and you
If you
can't
live in a
like
place with
watch
bad
any like
internet,
you can't stream anything at the same time because it's just gonna like lag the entire time and shit. Like, whereas like in the past, right, you would just go buy the game and then come home and put the disc in and play. But even now, right, like physical copies, you still have to.
yeah, I have a couple physical copies. Just not really much anymore.
Yeah, but you still have to do a download with a physical copy,
Yeah,
right? Like it's
yeah,
it's more it's more or less
and
like
you
a gift card to
and
buy
you
the
and
game.
you have to and you have to patch it for sure. There is that problem, and all like my digital like I buy a lot of digital copies too. I'm not gonna lie, like almost my entire Steam library is digital. Yeah, no, no. I have some physical copies I would prefer because I like sliding a disc into the thing, because that's just how I was raised. But like like I just said before, I'm a hypocrite. My entire Steam library is digital. I have over like 400 games on Steam, and I've beaten almost all of them because I've talked before on this podcast about how I spent like pretty much all of COVID going through my game library beating games I haven't beat before. Um, so it's just it's gonna keep getting worse, and
Yeah,
I hope that I don't know, man. Like, I just maybe they do something to make the download speed better. Maybe they do like pre-installation before it releases for everybody, but then that means people are going to access it anyway because people are hella smart out there. They're way smarter than corporations. There's a lot of kids out there that just know this shit and they can get around everything. And it's a really hard thing to talk about, because I don't know where it's going to happen. Like these file sizes, this is ridiculous. Like 300 gigabytes for a single freaking game, dude. Like that's crazy.
yeah,
That's absolutely crazy. That's like 300 times. That's like 100 times bigger than Skyrim. And Skyrim is an amazing game that some people are still to this date playing because there's so much content. There's probably some quest in Skyrim that I haven't seen, and I've played the game dozens of times. So it's
yeah.
gonna keep. So I'll let you talk now.
No, yeah, no, just yeah, video game big file sizes. It's gonna keep happening. So hopefully solutions will emerge in the near future. But that brings us to some talk about the Lord of the Rings, and there's some news about the Rings of Power. A couple things. First, I saw this headline that made me scratch my head, and it was a fan favorite character not returning for season two. And you'll be surprised to learn that that fan favorite character is Bronwyn, who is nobody's favorite character. Bronwyn was the mom of that one kid who fell in love with the elf, and the elf was cool. And, he was pretty cool. He did some cool things. But Bronwyn was just annoying and a terrible mother. And so she's not returning, and not because the writers and the showrunners were like, yeah, she's not that great as a character. We should probably not move forward with her. It's because the actress quit acting.
Nice.
So she's doing some activism stuff for her country. So yeah. So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. And then the other thing about the Rings of Power is Tom Bombadil will be in season two, and we all know Chair
Yay!
is a big
Yay!
fan of Tom Bombadil.
For those of you just listening in for the first time, the joke is that I don't really like Tom Bombadil, and I find his entire chapter section in the Lord of the Rings to be absolutely useless and pointless. And I also one time insinuated that maybe it was Tolkien writing himself into his own books because there's this random old guy that talks to trees, that lives in the wood, and is super powerful. Doesn't need to care about the ring because he's above corruption, but he may forget about it because he's so above corruption he doesn't care. Also, he has a hot wife named Goldberry that hangs out with him and sings him like sweet elven lullabies 24/7 nonstop all the time. And like makes him like cakes or
Yeah.
whatever the fuck. So, I just don't think that Tom Bombadil. I don't feel like there's. I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
I
about
just don't.
Tom Bombadil in the context of the Rings of Power, though, instead of in the context of the Lord of the Rings?
I don't know. We'll see. That's perfect. I can pull that one. I can whip that out right up and slap you
Yeah.
with it because we
Yeah.
don't know what's gonna. We don't know what this is all like. Just stuff that doesn't. It's just all over the place. Like he was he. I don't know. Was he in the Silmarillion? And he like fucking slapped like whatever the name of Morgoth in the
No.
face or whatever, like with his dick
No.
or and fucking like
No.
everyone was like at the last twilight hour. Time Bombadil came down from the fucking stars and Goldberry like fucking. He's like, oh my awesome husband, and he fucking had some trees go beat the shit out of this one guy.
No. That didn't happen. That just didn't happen. So no, I mean the thing is, right? They can use Tom Bombadil because he's in the Lord of the Rings, and they only have the rights to the Lord of the Rings in those appendices. So even if he was in the Silmarillion, they can't really like use any of those stories legally.
Mm.
So they still have to kind of like pussyfoot around what they can do. I just hope that they don't bastardize the characterization of Tom Bombadil and make him this serious character who is like all serious and stuff, because he's not at all a serious character in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly. That's
so,
why I don't think he needs to like. Why couldn't he be in like the short stories? Why does he need to be in Lord of the Rings? Like, why do I need to read these? Why do I need to read that every
well,
time?
who
I go
would
to
have
Lord of the Rings?
saved them from Old Man Willow if there's no Tom Bombadil?
Why do they need to go to by Old Man Will to begin with? Why couldn't they just gone the right way and followed Gandalf?
Well, they were trying, but it's tough. It's tough out there, and then they were manipulated by Old Man Willow. They fell into his trap, and then
Yeah.
then he was going to kill them and crush them, and then Tom Bombadil was like, "Hey, Old Man Willow, stop being so grumpy."
Yep. That's exactly what happened.
And
He's
for
like,
people who don't know, Old Man Willow is a giant willow tree, not at all a
he's a
human
tree.
being.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
tree. Yep.
So yeah. But anyway, in other Lord of the Ring news, we talked about the announcement of The Hunt for Gollum, which Andy Serkis is directing, and also Peter Jackson is attached to in some way, shape, or form, as well as like all the people who worked on Lord of the Rings. And since then, Viggo Mortensen, who played Aragorn, and Ian McKellen, who played Gandalf, both said they are open to returning as their characters.
Mhm.
I'm not sure how that would work 20 years in the future, because that makes I mean, Ian McKellen's got to be what, like 80 something.
Yeah.
And it's not that like he can't still be Gandalf. I mean, he was Gandalf 10 years ago still, but it's kind of I don't know, like it'd be weird for them to recast them, but also it'd be weird for them to bring them back at their ages now, for
Yeah.
like something that takes place before the Lord of the Rings. And
This
also,
really should have happened in the get. This should have happened from the get go, not from the late go. Like it's
well, it
too
should have
late, dude.
happened. It should have happened when Warner Brothers or whoever saw how much fans enjoyed the fan film of The Hunt for Gollum, which was on YouTube for years and years and years, and was forced to be taken down because now they're using that story. So I don't know. Like I feel like the only person who should really reprise their role is Andy Serkis as Gollum.
Yeah.
Um, but who knows? Like I have a sneaking suspicion that they'll find a way to get a bunch of other people to come back.
Yeah.
Like they'll have like just a shot of like Frodo, waiting in the Shire for the 20 years he was waiting while they hunted Gollum. They'll to find a way to do that. I mean, Legolas, I'm sure, will show up again. So I don't know. But
So I don't know exactly what the fuck is going on here. Like, it's very weird. Like, it's like I don't know, man. It's just so strange to me watching all this fandom. It feels like the fandom is just pressuring like this. Like they want these actors to return because they're all just rehashing the movies. We also need like a chance for new movies and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to kind of see what they do. Like, I think the movie will turn out good if they make it, what it is, instead of like trying to do like a bunch of fan service things and just force in all these cameos. Because I like that works for some people, but for most people, it's just kind of annoying, I think. And to me, that'd be kind of annoying. So, um, also, what's funny is there's like a thing on Amazon Prime of like
mm,
it's like a Finding Middle Earth kind of thing, and it's like just all these historians and Tolkien like scholars talking about um, the Lord of the Rings and Tolkien as a human and all this biographical stuff, and like they even bring up like the forward, right, to the Lord of the Rings, where he's like, yeah, don't say my books are about this or that or whatever, like my like they're don't do that shit. And like they bring that up in this thing, and then they're like, oh yes, the Shire was very clearly an allegory for the British people. It's very British. But the funny thing is, when you talk to people who live in other countries who've read the Lord of the Rings, they don't see that at all, and they find it more applicable to some of their own customs and their own cultures. Like, well, yeah, of course. That's why it's timeless. That's why it's applicable. That's why it's not what you're saying it is, even after saying that we shouldn't be doing what you're trying to do. So, yeah, anyway. I watched about 5 minutes of that before I turned it off. And especially because I don't know when it was made. I know Ian Holm, who played Bilbo, he does like the narration for it. But holy shit, the graphics are so bad. Like brother, when I say like 120p, this shit was 120p. And it's just like on Amazon. I'm just like, what the fuck is this shit? Like,
that's how it be sometimes.
yeah. There's not really other news, to be honest, but Deadpool comes out in a month.
Yeah.
Just over a month. Let's see what we got
And
here. Besides,
that's their only Marvel movie coming out right now, so they got to hit it big with that one, man. Hopefully, I don't know. I feel like they're gonna do something really wacky, and it's gonna be super important for the MCU. That's what I think is gonna happen because it's the only movie coming out this year. So I think they're really gonna go big with it. That's my prediction. What about you? Do you think it's just gonna be another stick in the wall, kind of like the first Deadpool, where it's like a little bit of a comedy almost? Not
oh, it'll
very.
absolutely be a comedy, but like,
Yeah. Well, do you? Okay, so
I think
obviously,
it'll be.
how important do you think it is?
I think it'll be pretty pivotal. It'll be pretty pivotal to the MCU, like in what they're trying to accomplish. And it'll. I think they view it as a movie to get people back, like the people that maybe have been like, what the fuck have they been doing? What are these mediocre movies they've been putting out? I'm done with it. This is a way to get those people back, because Deadpool is pretty universally loved, and when you make it kind of important to your universe, people will, want to see what's affected by it in the future, right? Like, that's part of what made the MCU so endearing to so many people, is like this interconnectivity between movies. I think they've gone a little overboard with it in certain ways, and that's why some people have fallen off the wagon a little bit, right? Like they need to just kind of have a proper reset a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think Deadpool is a good opportunity to kind of reset things.
Yeah.
So there's also apparently Dave Filoni has given an update on his New Republic movie that he's working on. So he was on a podcast, and he said because I've been writing Ahsoka season 2, things have clicked, and I have a much better idea about where things are going to go. I will say I have an opening I really like quite a bit. I'm very excited about it for that picture. I'm excited about the potential of just doing it. Right now, my focus is clearly on Ahsoka, as well as the rest of the galaxy and how it's spinning. So, that's not really an update. But yeah, that's his update. He's working on it, but he's working on Ahsoka season 2 first. Something you missed. I don't know if you saw any of it, but George Lucas got an award at some French film festival, and he did some interviews, and he was asked about certain things, and then a bunch of stuff got reported out of context and like misquoted and whatever, because he was talking about selling Star Wars to Disney, and what the article said was, yeah, he was talking about selling it, and he's like, nobody really understood the Force. Like, I'm the only one who ever really understood what it was, and like, and then they cut that up with him saying, I sold the property, and I'm okay with that, whatever. But what he was actually talking about with when he said, I'm the only one who really understands the Force, is that when he stepped away for Empire, when he wasn't directing that, he was working on Indiana Jones. He said, he was saying, like, I had to pretty much be on set all the time because nobody else really understood the Force the way I do. But the Hollywood Reporter, I believe it was, they took that clip and then attributed it to what he was saying about Disney, and made it seem like he was saying, like, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So there was that. And then, like, there's been criticisms. He addressed criticisms of the original trilogy and even the prequels not having enough diversity. And he was like, he said what you say. He's like, there's freaking aliens. But he also said, we had Billy D. Williams, in Empire. We had Samuel L. Jackson and the prequels and stuff, and like he was like kind of going on about that. And he's like, and the women, he's like, if you don't know that the women are the heroes of Star Wars, you haven't watched Star Wars. And so like he was kind of going on about that, which, like, again, I don't really care. I don't think any of that's relevant. But before we get, I don't want to have this conversation before the Acolyte discussion, so it's better to get it out of the way now. And I don't know if you've heard all the noise surrounding the Acolyte. I'm sure you have.
No, I haven't actually, because like I said, I've been totally disconnected. Like, I've just been gaming on that Star Wars game that I showed you about. I'm like really involved in the community now. Like, a lot of people know me and talk to me every day, so it's like really nice to be like part of something.
Yeah.
So honestly, all I've been doing every day, leading up to my LSAT, is I just studied. And that's like, so 2 weeks leading up to my LSAT is when I completely disconnected from like everything, right? That's when I told you, like, hey, I'm studying for my LSAT. I'm not gonna do the podcast. I'm sorry, because I didn't want to take time to browse Instagram and like browse all the entertainment news and stuff like that and be prepared for all the podcasts and stuff. I just wanted to study for the LSAT.
Yeah,
I did that.
Well,
so yeah.
Well, then, as someone with real things happening in your life,
Yeah.
I'm guessing when you were watching the Acolyte episode 1 last night, you were not counting the number of white people on the screen or men on the screen.
No, because it's a science fiction society that's multi-planet, literally super multicultural. Like, the Coruscant has over 3 trillion people on it. And it's like actually like the different levels of the apartments have different dialects, and they even have so it's I did not care about that at all. That's not something that even gets to cross my mind.
As someone working 2 jobs, just trying to like get by in life, it's also not something I give a shit about. But
Yeah.
boy, oh boy, have I seen comments about there's only 2 white men in the whole series, and they're made to look weak compared to all the girl boss. Brother, get a fucking life. Find some real problems to fucking complain about, because holy shit, is that not important at all. If a story's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. It has nothing to do with the demographics of the people on the screen. Like, it's just asinine and ridiculous. And you can say, DEI and they're ruining Star Wars and blah, 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 blah. Listen, brother, Star Wars is run by Disney now, and some of it will be terrible. Some of it will not be terrible. You either watch it or you don't watch it. And I know it's sad, that, it's my whole life and my childhood, and they're destroying it and all this. And it's like, yeah. But when you grow up and, like, become a real adult, you kind of learn that, like, things change, and you have to kind of just move on with life. Like, you're not always going to love the same things you loved as a kid, and that's okay. And maybe you will. There's a lot of people out there that will enjoy the Acolyte and most people will call them whatever they want to call them and shills, and they just eat all the crap Disney wants to produce and all that stuff. And then there will be a bunch of people that don't like it, and then you'll have the people on the other side calling them racists and homophobes and transphobes and whatever. And the truth is, do what you want to do. Like, stop focusing on all this garbage. Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah, well, that's just part of the internet now. Like I said, the good thing I like about the Star Wars community in this game, I play a Star Wars game, MMORPG, right? So there's a lot of really hardcore Star Wars fans here that have read all the books. They've read, which is something I guess is also super important, all of the comics, which is like, I guess there's a ton of Star Wars comics, and maybe that's more
Yes,
your
yeah,
department.
yeah,
Yeah, they're
yeah.
super important to the lore and everything like that. And
But have they purchased Star Wars Oreos?
I probably, if I ask them, yes. There's
They
a
hit
couple people
shelves this week. They hit shelves on Monday, guys. They hit shelves on Monday. I bought 3 packs today. I gave 2 away. All of them were red. I don't think the blue ones exist. If you have blue ones, show me, because I don't believe they exist. All right. So what it is pretty much is, right, it's Oreos, and it's in a special package with all Star Wars whatever. And when you open them, you either get cookies with all red icing or all blue icing, right? And it's only the outside of the icing. When you open it, it like the icing is like blue, and then the center is white, so it looks like kind of like a lightsaber, and then the cookies have like characters on them, which is really cool. But I have never seen a blue one. I've seen 5 packs of those things opened, never seen a blue one. So I don't believe they exist. That's all I'm saying.
Well, some people say that Greedo shot first, so it all depends on who you ask. It's just yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, there are a lot of right. We kind of talk ad nauseum here about how toxic and terrible the Star Wars fan base is, but there are groups of Star Wars fans that are just really amazing.
Yeah.
And, it's
That's
good
why
that
in
you
the
found
game, like
yourself in.
in the game, like all the Discord, there are a bunch of different space Discords and roleplay Discords and all that stuff, and each one of these Discords has a like Star Wars discussion channel, and it's got all the subheadings, like it'll have all the new shows, the Acolyte. Everybody loved the Bad Batch. They didn't like the last season of the Bad Batch because the Clone Commandos got screwed. That's why they hated the last Bad Batch, because they thought they wanted
Hmm,
Scorch and all those guys to be do more super badass stuff, and they just get killed off like side characters, by the Bad Batch. And
yeah.
everyone gives things a fair shake. I haven't looked into the Acolyte stuff yet, but it looks pretty civil. And some people are saying like it's a mixed bag, and that's what it seems like for a lot of people, which is a good place to occupy, I guess. Is better than awful, right? Like it's I don't know though. I haven't
Yeah.
watched it yet
Well, I
myself
mean,
personally.
that was my impression after the first 2 episodes. Like, it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was like, it was enough to build momentum to keep you interested. And I don't want to say more because I don't want to like, ruin like or like put any ideas in your head before you watch it. So I won't say anything about episode 3. But yeah, I mean, there's someone I know who plays Galaxy of Heroes. Wait, you play Galaxy of Heroes?
No, I don't. That's
Oh,
Phoenix.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. She plays Galaxy of Heroes, and she's in like a Discord for that game too, and like a lot of the people there like are very helpful, like giving her like different strategies and ways to unlock certain characters and stuff like, and like those things should be highlighted too. Like, it's easy to like highlight all the toxicity because when you're on Facebook, Twitter, whatever, like that's what you see when anybody says anything about the Acolyte. They get all the laughing emojis come in, and then it's just people saying like, oh, they're ruining Star Wars and whatever. And then every now and then I see some people saying like, they are enjoying it and they like a lot of the ideas and concepts within the Acolyte, and so do I think overall like the delivery is poor and the execution is poor. But there are a lot of good ideas and interesting concepts in there. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it will be a
And
mixed bag. And
it's the first foray, into this whole High Republic thing, right? It's the very first piece of
as far as
content
live
outside the
action
book.
goes, yeah,
Yeah, there's like been the books, but as you and I know, the books only really appeal to a niche audience. They're not what you and I would describe as mass media. Like at the end of
no,
the
not
day,
anymore.
yeah. Well, it kind of yes and kind of no. Whereas in like people don't take them as seriously as they take the shows when it comes to specific canon and events that happen in lore and all such things. That's what I think is more important. You
Well,
know.
yeah,
I
I
think a lot of
mean,
more people read now because like it's easy to read on your Kindles and stuff like that. Like, there are people that legitimately get on Amazon and they start selling indie books and they start actually making money. They just don't make a lot of money, but they do make money because there's always this crowd of people that are always eating like new, for instance, like as I know, I'm still put this on the side burner for right now, but I still kind of want to be a fantasy author. There's always people consuming new fantasy. Like they're like you'll make like 20 or 30 bucks if you just put like some random like couple hundred like couple dozen chapter fantasy book that's like kind of shitty up on Amazon because people will buy it because they want to read new fantasy, new fiction.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely. There are a lot of people who still read. I think that it's probably not as much as people who used to read. So I don't know. I don't know. It's tough to really. I'm sure there's studies and statistics about it, but I don't know what the actual truth of any of that is. So yeah, it is the first foray into the High Republic. And it's on the small screen, as they say. Um, the viewership numbers are decent as far as when you compare it to other things. I think like in the first 5 days, it had like 4.1 million views, whereas Ahsoka had like 4.5. It's like the biggest Disney launch, first day launch of 2024. So there's all that stuff. I mean, in context, like there hasn't been a whole lot launched in 2024, but it's doing decent. People are watching it. Some of those people are probably hate watching it, which is fine. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you think and how you feel about it. I just predict there will be some sighing going on.
Yeah.
So
I'll watch it. I'll give it a fair shake. You know me, I always give everything a fair shake, and we'll just see what happens.
yeah, and to be fair, right, it's 3 episodes in, and we've talked about this before too, but like it took me a long time to get through the first 3 episodes of Andor because I was just bored. Like it's hard to get through the first episode for sure.
Andor.
Yeah, and then once it picked up, like it was really good.
One of the best shows on television.
Yeah. So
like it's still streaming on FX. Like FX just has it in the rotation now because like
yeah,
it's that good. Like you can get people watching in the middle of the day.
and Andor, to be fair to it, was what 14 or 16 episodes. So like it had a lot more to go after those 3 episodes. Whereas this is the Acolyte's only 8 episodes, so it's almost halfway through after 3 episodes. But to be fair, Game of Thrones, the first season of that is also 8 episodes, and for a lot of people, it's pretty tough to get through the first couple episodes because like there's all these names and all these people and all this stuff and all this history and like you're just all over the place. So lots of amazing shows start slowly. So I don't know. I feel like some of their decisions are not very good as far as like the way they're presenting the story. But we'll see. So
Yep.
Anyway, I actually don't have anything else to talk about, so we can end if you want. You can have 15 minutes back of your day.
Yeah, like I said,
I feel like we're in a work meeting, You're in a work meeting, you're ending early, and you're like,
I'm not in a work meeting. It's not even that. It's just like, I'm all over the place today. I've been on vacation mode. I've been getting drunk like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, having
No,
a good
I
time.
just mean, I don't know, like, what kind of work environments you've been in, but a lot of work meetings where you're, like, ending early, they're like, oh, I got 20 minutes back in my day.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how people are, so. Yeah. But, did I talk to you about my second job now? Did I tell you,
Yes.
like...
Yes.
all the similarities and differences between where we used to work?
Yeah.
Because it's super different.
Yeah, you told me the last episode before we concluded.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I told you nobody works on weekends.
Yeah.
Except for me.
You told me all about how it's pretty chill, and I'm glad it's chill. Like I'm glad your second job isn't like the super stressful things like compounding stress. At least.
Well, I mean, they did tell me yesterday that people had been murdered there, so I was like, oh, well, they didn't tell me that in orientation, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it is what it is. That happens. So, yeah, I mean that's it. Kept it short and sweet. We'll do another episode coming out this Saturday. We'll talk about the Acolyte episodes 1, 2, and 3. We'll give a fair assessment. We won't talk about anything other than the content of the episodes when we talk about that. Who cares about all this bullshit, right? So that's it. Much love, much appreciated. Follow, like, subscribe. We're on Twitch, YouTube, all the podcast platforms, Twitter, Instagram. I never update those because I'm just lazy. But yeah, you can follow if you want. And that's it. Much love. Peace out. See you soon. Bye.